All right, so we're going to do a syncline, a plunging syncline this time. So again, same order of layers, oldest on the bottom, youngest on the top. And I'm going to fold the limbs up just as before. My clay's coming apart here, doing weird stuff. So there is the syncline. Try to squish it a little better together here. And before we had cut it, and it was a flat line, the hinge was parallel to the horizontal. It was parallel to the surface. It was horizontal lying fold. But just like the anticline, let's tilt this syncline. Whoop, got a slight problem here with my model. Try to fix that a bit before we go on. We can't cut it right. So we'll take this syncline and tilt it in the same direction. So we're going to have the plunge going in that exact same direction and erode it. So I'll lie it here, make sure I get this right. Plunge there. And slice it open. All right, so before flat lying syncline, plunged it forward, and so the plunge is no longer horizontal, it's tilted towards you, and we get a similar type of layers as we did with the anticline, but notice that they're opposite. Oops. So we had the anticline was tilted this way, and the syncline is tilted in the same direction, but we get opposite features. So if they were right next to each other, they might look like this. And still have the same age pattern though. Here we have oldest rocks in the center, youngest on the outside. Here we have youngest rocks in the center, oldest on the outside, just like we did previously with a flat lying one. And with this one, just like with the anticline, the strike is still going to be parallel to the contacts, like so. And the dips will all point towards the center, just as they do in a flat lying syncline, but this time they're just all around pointing towards the center and not parallel to one another. Now, the one that any strike and dip that crosses over that hinge line gives you a direction of plunge. So notice this one is tilted, the dip is towards the camera there, and that's because the hinge line is plunging towards the camera. So anytime that you want to find out which direction a fold is plunging, you look for that strike and dip that actually crosses the hinge line. If we see that it's tilted, in this case where I'm holding this is the horizontal surface, the map view. If it's pointed down, in this case, then we'd know that the fold was plunging into the table. If it was tilted the opposite way, then I'd know it was towards me. So this was our flat lying. It's tilted forward, and we get a different pattern on the surface than we did with our flat lying folds. And remember that we can not only tell anticlines and synclines from the pattern of the strike and dip symbols, but also the age pattern. If the oldest is in the center, then it has to be an anticline. If the youngest is in the center, then it has to be a syncline. And that holds true whether or not we know the strike and dip. As long as we know the age, we can figure out what kind of fold it is. Of course, the opposite, as long as we know strike and dip, we can figure out the type of fold it is, whether we have age or not.